This is TalkSport.
Planted rice in the paddy fields of Thailand. He's seen the sunrise from the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's meditated within the ancient walls of Machu Picchu. He's got a Renault Turbo Sport and a TVR. He's got a huge bank balance. He could go out with any woman in the country. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a close personal friend of his family. He's been invited to the Prime Minister's house for drinks. He's the closest thing on earth to the angel Gabriel. He's Tommy Boyd.
Since 10 o'clock last night.
9 hours? Now what I see here is a Caribbean band on the terraces at Fratton Park. Fratton Park, nice one. Tomorrow.
The only thing that frightens me, the only thing that worries me, is not being certain that I'm living my life correctly in the context of the fact that it's going to end. And that is because I have not yet shuffled off all the detritus of the idea that necessarily my non-existence is the main thing I should strive to avoid.
I'm not saying you should strive to avoid because you know it's inevitable, but there's no point. You know, what I'm saying is, if you want to eat half a cake, you're not going to give yourself a quarter of a cake, are you? If you can have 70 years, why take 35? That's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean?
No. I never know what someone means if they say, do you know what I mean? And I often suspect that they themselves don't know. What you mean is, do I know what I mean?
Rubbish analogy, I know.
What you mean, what you should be saying is, do I know what I mean? Try it.
Do I know what I mean?
Do you know what you mean?
Yes, I think I do.
I've never met anybody who didn't think they knew what they meant. Do you see my point? It's a big point. It's a huge point. It's a unique point. You will never have heard it anywhere else. You may never hear it again.
So what's the alternative? Do we go around telling 5-year-old kids that death's wonderful and they should embrace it?
Well, again, you see, you've asked such an obstructive question that we're not going to get anywhere. Because put like that, it's so limiting.
Well, you're saying what we're doing now is wrong. What society in general...
Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be? What do we say to a 5-year-old child? Why do you put it like that? Why can't you?
5-year-old children are important. You know that. You went to Brighton College and studied childcare.
You know too much about me for your own good. You need a life besides mine, don't you?
I only listen to you once a week. I think, you know, the same way I only do other certain things once a week.
Yes. And lo, they did touch the hem of his garment.
So 5-year-old children are important.
Bad piece of conversation. Doesn't work, that. Be more sympathetic and engaging with the person you're talking to. Or be better at being confrontational. So 5-year-old children aren't important. You know that was trash, that remark.
Yes, don't you? You're the one that obstructed my remark when I was trying to move forward and say, what is the alternative to the current situation in society and the media? That
was your question, yes, but you screwed it up totally by saying the 5-year-old child bit, because I focused on that, because I saw a 5-year-old child in my mind.
I know
what is the alternative? The alternative is for us to be free from the constraints, to recognize other people's ideas for what they are, other people's ideas, and whether they're in the Bible, or the famous five, and whether they're on television or the radio, whatever, they're other people's sets of ideas. And what we should do is take ourselves off, by ourselves, and think about it so that what we're doing is what we want to do and what we're thinking is what we want to think. And it's an extremely difficult thing to do. And if you want to test out whether it's worthwhile doing it, it really is a good idea to say to yourself, is necessarily living as long as I possibly can the main thing that I should be focusing on?
No, it's enjoying your life.
Well, that was very sudden of you, and that's because you're young.
You don't know how old I am.
Well, you have young ideas, even if you're 70.
I don't think there's any such thing as young and old ideas.
No. Morning, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, morning, Tommy. It's Steve.
Hello, Steve.
I've just got a few words which I wrote for you, actually, which might make us all think. It's the story of a number and a man. It's the story of how that number came to symbolise this man's very purpose and existence in the race of life. The story of how in the last few days of the 20th century, this number became the most widely used number in the history of mankind, as was its destiny. This is the story of a number and a man, a number that had carried so much mystique and baggage for nearly 2,000 years that even today, the numbers missed out on streets and roads, on car number plates, yet it became by far, by a very long way, the most common number mankind had ever honoured.
Does it pick up? It needs a bit of music, this.
It's a story about how this man was swept along in a world that was shaped by and for this philosophy and doctrine. It's a story of how this commercial philosophy preaches night and day through his television set.
It's all going in one ear and out the other, you know.
This is a story of a self-indulgent,
can you stop?
blind man hurtling himself down the abyss of self-destruction.
Can you stop, pal? Otherwise I'll switch you off. Do me a favour.
Do you get the idea?
No.
You're destroying the planet.
Definitely don't.
Our whole life philosophy and society is based on it. Absolutely everything that we now stand for has been moulded by it and for it. The media's controlled by it. Our government
can you stop again?
Yep.
Can we have a conversation? And can you stop doing this tub thumping and reading stuff out?
But we've got to open our eyes, Tom.
Nobody's got to do
point.
anything.
We've got to look at ourselves and our actions.
No, you've got to look at yourself.
You've got kids.
You have got to look at yourself. I'm not tub thumping and frightening people. You are.
Look, sometimes some things have just got to be
What
said.
makes you think you know it? How old are you?
It doesn't matter how old I am.
It does matter how old you are.
It
Otherwise you'd tell us.
All right, I'll tell you something positive.
How old are you?
It doesn't matter.
I'm
38.
38. What have you done?
What do you mean?
Where have you been? What have you seen? Have you been to all four corners of the earth and talked to everybody?
I lived in Russia, and that was when it was communist. Now, let me just tell you something. The spirit in the people was incredible.
That doesn't come across in what you're saying.
We've smothered ourselves in commercialism.
And we have no idea.
We have no chance of advancing spiritually.
Darling, the point is this. You've been yakking on for a couple of minutes and nobody's got any idea where you're coming from or where you're going with it.
I'm talking about consumerism, global consumerism that's destroying the world, destroying our souls, destroying any hope of spirituality we ever had.
Well, why didn't you say that in the first place?
I can't comment about it. Well, you can't.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Okay.
Of course you can.
You say so, sir.
No, but what? You can't comment on some. You got to have opinions.
Yeah, which I have done. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't go along with the idea that you're not entitled to an opinion unless you fully experienced something. Otherwise, for example, I wouldn't.
Okay, you're entitled to an opinion about a Manchester United.
I wouldn't have any views on the rights or wrongs of robbing a bank, would I?
Well,
I've never done it.
It's your personal opinion. It's up
No,
to you.
it isn't. I'm just following.
What are you doing your own time's up to you.
Following your argument through to the end. That's
okay.
All. Trust me to phone at this time.
Trust you.
Yeah, I think your show's really poor because it's the quality's really poor because I'm always expecting somebody better than you to come on. I've just a second switched on and I'm through. So it must be quite poor because I'm through right away for a start.
Yeah. Well, it was a fantastic call. I really enjoyed listening to you. We'll play that one back and see whether we can make any sense of what you were saying whatsoever. Or shall we move on? Yes. On the hour...
Okay, mate.
Bye-bye. If there is a heaven... Thank God there is a heaven. But, what will heaven be like? Somebody said to me, and it really stuck in my mind, I wouldn't want to go to heaven, all those Christians.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I mean, and it's a thought, isn't it?
Mm.
And down in hell, you've got all those lap dancers and The bookies. You know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Life after death. 08700 40 50 60. Let's go to line 3. Good morning. You're on Talk Sport.
Hi, Tommy. It's Charlie. You just had on before the news. Just didn't have time to make my point. I was got cut off as usual.
No, you didn't get cut off as usual. Keep up. There was the news.
Well, right, okay. Something's been extended.
What do you do about that?
Well,
the news sits there like a toad on a manure heap.
Fair my point, Tommy.
In every hour.
Right,
There's nothing you can do about it. Do you want to know
right.
about the family stabbed to death in Bracknell? Do you? Well, you damn well will, though.
It's a bit far away, Tommy. It's 300 miles away. I'm not.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. So if it happened in Ayrshire, then you'd be concerned.
No, I wouldn't. That's about 150 miles away.
Oh, what is the actual limit, then, upon which a murder is of interest to you?
Well, they're 2 a penny these
15
days.
or 20 miles? No, they're not.
They're 2 a penny these days.
Excuse me, they're not. That's a morbid view. Now, you need a bit of lightening up or a kick up the bottom, don't you?
Well, perhaps a kick up the bottom, but the point is, Tommy, I'm going to go to bed now, and I usually fall asleep to someone a bit more interesting than yourself.
No.
Your
Wait a
show's
second.
really poor.
Wait a second. I am interesting. You might not like it, but we've already established that you don't know what's going on, really, do you? We've already established that I know your mind better than you do. Now, come on. I am interesting. If the problem is that you don't like it. Now, why?
No, you're not interesting, Tommy. I've picked up the phone in the last 5 minutes.
Now, come on, get interesting yourself, pal. Come on.
No, fair enough. That's fair enough.
You're dull, you're lethargic, you're negative.
I'm phoning in. You're the radio host.
Humorless, you're uninteresting, you haven't got anything original to say.
Tommy, you're going to listen then?
Well, no, be interesting, otherwise I have to interrupt you.
Tommy, the point is, I'm a caller. You've had pretty poor callers on. And
well, I'm afraid you're the worst by a long shot.
Probably. I mean, you're
don't ring again then, all right? Go to bed. Don't ring again. Fair enough?
Am I getting cut off again, am I?
Well, because you're boring.
Tommy, the point is you're boring.
No, I'm not boring. It's that you don't like it. No, I'm not.
You are.
No, I know I'm not boring.
On something a lot more interesting than yourself. I mean, this is at this point in time.
No, what you don't understand.
How many girls have you went out with recently?
Yes.
How many people have you went out with recently?
No, that's what other people bring up.
What education have you had? That's what
other people bring up. That's what other people bring up.
Get your program interesting. See, you're not going to listen to somebody because you think they're not interesting. Why don't you give them a chance to speak instead of you talking all the time?
Well, because in your case, you're boring.
Yeah.
Go on. What's the most interesting thing you've ever done?
The most interesting thing I've ever done?
Yeah, go on.
Well, you tell me yours first, and I'll tell you mine.
Okay. In the Pacific, there's a lagoon. It's called Scammon's Lagoon. It's very saline. And that's the reason why Estrictius robustus, or Old Hardhead, as the whalers call them, make their way down from the Bering Straits once a year to have their young. Yeah, you see. Okay.
Yeah, well, given your resources, Tommy, that's a pretty poor show, I would have thought.
Okay, well, wait a second. You asked the question. You're not only boring, you're a very, very, very rude man, and I would never.
Unlike yourself.
I'll be rude. I'll be rude to people who deserve it, but you asked me to do something and I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing it well. Much better than you'll be able to when it's your turn.
Right, Tom.
And I won't interrupt you.
Mm-hmm. Carry on, then. Is that you finished?
No. Are you going to listen? Are you going to be sensible, or do you have to clear off?
No, that's your decision. You ultimately make that decision, Tommy.
Right,
and when you get a bit... Well, not when you get a bit...
Okay, look, I asked you the question in the first place, so you asked it now. So what is the most interesting thing that you've ever done?
Well, given my resources, a lot more interesting than you.
What do you mean, given your resources? I've got my resources, they're the same as yours.
Mine are extremely finite. Yours sounds incredibly infinite, Tommy.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
What does finite mean?
No, what do you mean by suggesting that my resources to be interesting are greater than yours?
No, I was just saying that your resources seems to be a lot more infinite than mine.
What does that mean? What are you trying to say?
You have a lot of money to go and swimming with dolphins and whales, etc. My most interesting things, it's a cheap thing.
Yeah, cheap thing. Yeah, go on. Yeah,
God, go on. I mean,
I bet it's lousy.
Well, it is lousy.
I bet you've had no life.
See, this is it. This is the start. No girlfriends.
You've got no girlfriend.
Decent job.
You've got no decent job.
No decent job. No education.
Right. Okay.
Sarah, this is your usual line, Tom.
Is that your life?
No, that's not my life.
Well, where does this come from then? What's the most interesting thing you've done?
No, this comes from... Which question shall I answer first?
The same one I've asked you 3 times.
Right. I'll answer the question you asked me first of all, which was, if you care to remind me. You can't even remember, can you?
Shit. What is the most interesting thing you've done?
That's a hard question to ask, Tommy. For someone who's just phoning you up out of the blue, you've obviously done your program, reading. This is a question that you've obviously thought of in your mind. I've never thought of it. I'm falling asleep here, listening to you. How am I supposed to answer a wide-awake question like that?
Well, what would you like to talk about then, mate?
What would I like to talk? I would like to talk about where you think your qualities come from on your radio show. I don't think you've got anything at all to offer this radio program. I really think you should move over and make the position available
to you
for something. No. Well, I would like to.
We know that. That is your agenda.
No,
that is what you want to do. That's your problem. Everybody listens to the radio. Everybody watches television, and people like you think that you could do the job better. Well, fine. Maybe it's possible that you could. But what I would say to you,
you've got the opportunity, Tom,
because I earned it.
And how did you earn it?
With hard bloody work, when everybody else was down the pub. When my mates were down the pub, you asked me a question how I got it. I'll tell you how I got it. When I was 17, 18 and 19, when my mates were down the pub or sunbathing on the beach, I was beavering away backstage at venues. I was working at radio stations where nobody gave a damn who I was because I was just some kid. I was at the bottom rung of Fleet Street newspapers. I was teaching in lousy, rotten little rundown secondary modern schools because I wanted to learn how to communicate. I did the work. I spent 6 years living in lousy digs in Kilburn and in the Dog's End of Brighton. Learning my trade.
There's my most interesting thing in my life.
Now listen to me. Do you sad man? Do you see my point? I earned it.
Why are you calling me a sad man? You don't know me.
Yeah, you are sad. I know you well enough. I know.
Why am I sad?
We all know it from this conversation.
Because I ask you and challenge you, I must be sad.
Because your life is empty.
Of course it is. I've no girlfriend, I've no working, I've no education, I've no job.
You just told us that wasn't you.
Well, some of these things are me at the moment.
Okay,
Tommy.
so your life is empty and you're cross with me because you think I've got a full life.
No, you're missing the point, Tommy.
No, you're missing the point.
The point.
That is the point, and you don't even know it, mate.
You're missing the point,
You've got
Tommy.
an empty life, and so anybody who you see who you think's got a full life, you hate.
You love suggesting these things.
And what's more, what's worse about you is that you want to hurt them. You see somebody who's got more than you in your own mind, and you want to hurt them.
I want to talk sport and talk to Tommy.
Now,
you get to speak because you've got to listen.
I've got to tell you something, pal. You are the worst kind of victim.
Tommy.
You are the victim.
Tommy, are you prepared to listen?
You are the victim that wants everybody else to be a victim.
Tommy, the question still remains. Where
I am up here at the top of this mountain in the rare, clean air.
Where are you and what do you offer this radio program? I've asked you a million times.
No, you haven't. You've tried to ask it. But you've tried to ask it by being
shouted down by Tommy.
By being rude. You've tried to ask it
remains, Tommy.
by being unkind. Then, if you'd like to ask the question...
calling me sad and all the rest of it, and you don't know me, isn't very rude at all, is it, really?
Oh, you're sad.
Oh, that's not rude then. That's not rude, Tommy.
No, you told us you were sad. No girlfriend,
you're fed up and tired,
no job, empty life. And you're not sad? Of course.
Right,
as a matter of interest, if you were to pay me, I could show you how not to be sad, even without a girlfriend, a job, a prospect, or anything going on for you. Because you don't have to be sad, even though those are your
So,
circumstances.
Tommy, you're not going to answer my question. It doesn't sound like you're going to have the last word. You're going to say, that guy was sad. Next, please. But unfortunately, every 10th caller that comes on is telling you the same story and asking you the same question. What have you got to offer this radio program?
I'm not going to tell you.
Because it's uninteresting, it's very dull, very boring, and you're going to say, I've got the last word.
I have got the last word.
I'm going to turn you off.
I'm not going to tell you, because I'm not going to come between the creature and the creator.
So what does that mean?
Exactly. That's fine. I dispute your analysis of yourself,
Yeah.
which tells us that you like it when people tell you things that you're crap at. I dispute that. And I dispute their right to do it. I think that you have developed a mechanism.
As long as it's not rude. If someone says, like, takes you to one side, no, I think you're doing it wrong. And
Yeah, but no, I think, like a lot of people, you've developed a mechanism to enable you to deal with this constant tirade of negative remarks which we have to endure in Britain from our peers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to line 2 and say, good morning, you're on Talk Sport.
Hello?
Hello there, good morning.
Yes, I would just like to make a comment, if I may, sir.
Certainly.
I've been on your program before, and I don't make a noise or argue with anyone. Just a comment.
Okay, crack on, pal.
Oh, sorry. I'm not on the wireless now, am I?
Yes, you are, yes.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to say two things. The first one is that if you can compare the amount of people, famous people, you know, film stars, professional boxers, famous people, then they have all been killed in aeroplane accidents. There are so many, it's unbelievable. And many of them are pop stars, etc.
You're right, you know, that's extraordinary.
It's not extraordinary, sir. It's managed.
Who's forcing these people onto commercial flights?
No, I didn't say commercial flights, mister. I said private flights.
You didn't actually, but
well, I'm
it was
sorry.
in your mind.
I'm sorry. I meant private ones.
Who is doing this?
People with money.
Why are they doing this?
Well, for instance, if you look at all the people from right away from Rocky Marciano to some more famous...
The Big Bopper?
Some in Holland and more famous people.
All too many, sadly, football teams.
Yes, and these things, they just go away. Next time we know, they've gone.
Frank Sinatra?
Everybody seems to die in an aeroplane.
That American, what's his name, the singer with the beautiful voice, Jim Reeves?
Yes. Yes, and
Joe
also
Bugner?
Holland, was it called?
Yes.
The famous, you know, the...
Kevin Costner?
Yeah. So many people.
Johnny and Fanny Craddock?
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
You see, it cannot be a coincidence.
No.
Sir, can I tell you something?
I take my hat off to you. You've drawn our attention to something of significance. Thank you.
Also, I gave you a question. You know, the question, and you thanked me. You said you did it.
Yes.
The had
yes.
business.
Marvellous business.
You said you worked it out, which was very clever of you, because not many people know.
Not at all.
I'll give you another one if you want.
I think you've done enough. You've taxed our brain quite enough for one evening. Who is behind these serial murders of famous people in private aircraft? 08700. Who's this?
it's Pam
Hi, Pam.
from Essex. I'm live, am I? It's a
You
shame
are.
you can't remember your number. I just would like to say, why does he have to be so patronising to people? They're obviously older people.
Can you turn the radio down?
Yeah, I can. I
There
just
it is.
wonder why he has to be so patronising to these people.
No, you're talking to him.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, why do you have to be so patronising? It's so nasty.
It isn't. I'm not. I just lubricate the conversation by
No,
censoring.
you're not. You're patronising.
No, look. Can you excuse me? I know what I am. You don't know me. I do. All
I
right?
can hear you.
Yeah, well, that means you don't know me. You wouldn't know me in the street. I would.
But the thing is that I wouldn't talk to people like that.
The point is, what you don't understand, people like you, is the importance of centering in social transactions. Do you understand what I'm talking about at
Yes,
all?
of course I understand.
Well, what does it mean? What does it mean?
Stupid.
Yeah, well,
It doesn't mean you have to patronise people
I
like that.
centre with people, and people like you think it's patronising.
You don't centre with everybody.
I
All you
do.
do
If I'm
is try
talking
and
to a
make-
Geordie, listen to me. If I'm talking to a
No, you
Geordie...
listen to me. All you try to do is make people look stupid.
Cobblers. All I try to do is make
and
people
at the
feel...
end of the day, you just make yourself look stupid.
I'm not stupid. Nobody
You
thinks
are
I'm stupid. You've got to be very stupid to think I'm stupid. I'll tell you what, I am
Look.
nothing if not clever.
I'll tell you. Oh, for goodness sake! Do you love yourself or what?
Well, you have to, don't you? Don't you love yourself?
Well, much more than you should.
I'm sorry?
Much more than you should.
I don't understand
go
that.
around patronising
Look, I've
patronising people like
explained.
you.
I centre with people. If I get picked up... No, look,
Centre with people.
you don't know what it means. When did you last hitch a lift?
Listen.
No, I'm
I
asking
work
you a
with the
question.
I work with the public every day, and no way would I speak to people like
What
you.
do you
You're
do?
just a patronising
What do you do
person.
then?
What does it matter what I do?
Well, you brought it up. That's why it matters.
What do I do?
Yes.
I find homes for people.
What
That's
does
what
that
I
mean?
do. Older people.
I'm sorry, but why are you ashamed of what you do?
I'm not ashamed
Well,
of what
why
I
don't
do
you
at
just
all.
tell us what it is then?
I'm a letting agent.
You're a letting agent. Well, why did that take such a lot of trouble getting out of you?
Well, it didn't, but I don't think it's
Yes, it did.
relevant.
All you do is, I say, what do? You say, I'm a letting agent. You don't go,
Yes,
I
but
don't think
that's
that's relevant at all.
It's not relevant.
I
It's
find
not-
properties for members of the public. You're a
But
letting
it's not
agent.
relevant, is
so,
it?
it's neither a big deal nor a little deal.
No,
You're a
but I
letting
wouldn't
agent,
speak
right.
To people, it doesn't matter. I still wouldn't speak to people the
Well,
way
look,
you
if you
do.
centred, you'd be a much better letting agent. It's a well-known psychological device.
It's a device, is it?
It's a device. It's a device to make
It's
other
a device,
to put other
is it?
people at their ease. I mean, are you good at?
So
Are you-
patronising people
are
is
you-
putting people at their ease,
Yes.
is it?
Are you good at putting people at their ease?
Yes, very much
I
so.
bet you're not putting me at my ease.
Well, I don't think you deserve to be.
Well, I bet I could put you at your ease more
Come
easily
on,
than
then.
you could. What?
Come on, then.
Sorry?
Come on, then.
I didn't
Put
say I
me
was
at my
going.
ease.
I didn't say I was going to.
No,
No.
because you can't.
Well, you don't know that.
But you don't know I can't.
I bet you I could if I tried.
I bet you couldn't.
I bet you I could.
Because I think you're a nasty piece of work.
Well, sometimes nasty pieces of work are what we like.
Are they, really?
Well, that's what I've heard.
Is it really?
Well, you tell me I'm
Still
wrong.
not putting me at my ease.
No, but I'm smoothing things out a little bit.
No, you're not.
Well, I might have been if it's just that you're so
You're not.
dogged.
You're patronising
You're so
again.
look. Last time I hitched a lift, all right, it was from Bognor.
What's got to do with it?
I'm just stating a point, right? I'm from Bognor to London.
No.
No,
I'm
shut
from
up.
Butlins here, yeah.
Yes, actually, I was hitching a lift from Butlins up to London, right?
Yeah.
And the lorry driver picked me up, and I just got in, and I said, "Oh, thanks very much, mate." Oh, dear me, London. How close are you going? And because I assumed he was, from around there, and he went, "I can take you all the way up the A3, but then I'll have to let you go at the M25." And I found myself saying, "That'll do fine for me, like." Now, is that patronising, or is that merely being polite?
No, that isn't being patronising. I'm sure it's not. But the
Yeah,
way
right,
you were
see.
talking to that chap,
Which chap?
the older chap,
No, don't call him an older chap. You don't know how old he was.
he was obviously an older chap, and you were being nasty.
No, I wasn't.
You
You
were.
don't know that. He was happy. You read too much into every situation.
I only hear what I listen. Oh, I can hear it.
No,
You were being patronising.
No, I wasn't.
You
You
were
don't know what
nasty.
patronising is.
Of course I do.
What does it mean then? Where does it come from?
Where does it come from?
Yes, what is the term? So no,
The
you
term
know that.
patronisation comes from when you try to belittle somebody,
No,
and
see,
that's exactly what you were
That's
doing.
cobblers, actually. Mozart was patronised.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh,
And Van
what a
Gogh.
shame.
And Van Gogh wasn't patronised. That's why
Wasn't
he
he?
blew his brains out.
Oh, I think we chopped his ear off.
Well, you did both, obviously.
Oh,
No, steady. I do the comedy as well as the patronising.
Really? Perhaps it's because he threw his brains out because he couldn't hear the guns.
Yeah. Oh, go on. You're starting to flirt with me now. See? Got her. Because the old native charm, you know, you either got it or you've got it. Line 5, you're live on TalkSport. Good morning.
Lesbians are evil.
That's fantastic, actually. That was quite good. Do you know, I'm beginning to prefer the nutters to the people who think they're serious. And it is a full moon, so it could be quite a hoot this evening. Whoa, what a parade. Let's go to line 6. Good morning, you're live on TalkSport.
I beg your pardon?
I said, good morning, you're live on TalkSport.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
If you turn your radio off, then we'll be able to rattle on.
Yes, I've done that.
Well played.
The thing that was mentioned not so long ago about people who mysteriously vanish in the air on small aircraft.
Yeah.
Now, this very rarely happens with civilians who are learning piloting, etc., etc. Now, I was in China. I was Churchill's representative. I was in special services.
My God, I bet you can tell some stories.
Yes, and I'll tell you one in particular
I thought you might.
I didn't like. We had some generals, one or two of them pretty good. Wingate, who was in Burma in the Second World War. That's where I was, by the way. And I was in China, and I was working indirectly for Winston Churchill.
In the SAS?
They would call it that today, son. But I was just a special serviceman alone in China.
I bet you've got some stories.
Oh, I have. I've got plenty of stories.
Ah, I thought you would have.
There's one thing I'd like to ask.
Yes?
There were 4 Englishmen in China during the war.
Is that all?
Yes.
They were outnumbered.
No, yes, they were, yeah.
I bet they've got some stories.
We was at places like Lingxihon and Guizhou and Guilin and Chongqing and all I want you to know is there any of those 4 Englishmen left alive who was there on PJ Day and met and shook hands with Mao Zedong and Chiang Kai-shek, and I don't believe there's anybody in the world left who did that. Apart from us 4.
The 4 of you.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. We've put a very interesting iron in the fire there. 08700 40 50 60. Line 1 it is. You're live on TalkSport.
Hiya. Tommy.
Sir.
Right, this full moon business, what everyone's going on about, police stations being full up. Well, do you not think that just because the police stations are full up, there's a full moon, you can't blame that on the full moon. There's no, just because there's a relationship, it doesn't prove the cause.
It does in the eyes of the police.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a bit superstitious, a bit pathetic, if you ask me.
Look, pal, he's steady here. Do you know everything then?
Well, let's put it this way. The full moon is like, if you look out of the window now, it's bright. Now, in summer, there's a lot more crime committed because the sun's out and it's lighter at night time. It's the same with the full moon. There's more thieves out there because it is brighter.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain why more people die when there's a full moon than on a normal night, does it?
No, it doesn't explain it. But
no, it doesn't.
No, but
it doesn't explain why more people are emotionally disturbed around the time of a full moon. Now, this is very difficult to quantify.
I've never seen any statistics apart from word of mouth.
That's what you said at the beginning of the programme. This is one of those concrete, absolutely certain, nailed-on facts which anybody who's got any sensitivity, awareness, powers of analysis or natural perception is fully and utterly convinced of, and yet science is baffled. You, sir, prefer to believe that that we know everything that there is to know, and I think we've only just begun.
No, I'm not superstitious at all. I'll walk on the ladders. If I spill salt, I'm not bothered about spilling salt.
Look, pal, it's nothing to do with that. You're getting very confused. This is a scientific fact of the human emotion.
Well, you tell me where I can get these facts. Where can I access these facts?
Use your own eyes. Talk to people. Gain experiences. Go and visit an old people's home.
That's not facts, is it? That's just personal experience.
You go and visit an old people's... I hate it when people dismiss eyewitness evidence and say, oh, shut up. Oh, all right, let's have the news. And you go away.
3 a.m.
Talk Sport. Let's go to line 5 and say, good morning, you're on Talk Sport. Hello.
You're teaching the philosophy of complacency, and I disagree that you can't do anything about the news. GM Foods, you can by protesting. BNFL, you can by protesting. BSC, you can by protesting. You can alter things, issues, and newsworthy things like privatisation issues. I think that by continually propagandising that you sort of like can't do nothing, you should enjoy, and sport is it. It's sort of like give them bread, give them circuses, not bread.
Are you happy?
I'm not happy, but I can...
So, sorry, back up, say that again.
I can...
No, say that again, again.
Because it's you're diverting the subject.
I'm not, I'm asking you if you're happy, and you were brave enough, and you were strong enough, and I admire you. You said you're not happy.
I'm not happy with the news. So therefore I try and affect it to alter it by protesting, by writing, by speaking
well,
to other people.
If I may just interrupt you for a second, I didn't ask you if you're happy with the news. I asked you if you are happy.
Well, what's that got to do with the news?
Are you happy?
It has nothing to do with the news.
It has everything to do with the news.
It is a separate issue.
It is not a separate issue.
I'm talking about the news and you're talking about my personal emotions.
Right. Precisely. Of course I am, because I care about you.
You don't.
I do. I care about you more than any journalist alive. I care about you. That's why I have shed journalism. That's why I have turned my back on this Satan.
Sport as a place, but therefore it shouldn't succeed the place of issues that affect us all. And
where do you think is the reason why you are not as happy as you could be?
Because I need more information.
To do what, my petal?
To alter, to sort of try to protest, to object.
Do you suppose that there are things, if you were to be seen as an issue...
You talk
about... Can I please play the game of conversation with me? Don't be so rude.
Because you're...
Please play the game of conversation with me. It's just a matter of politeness.
Okay.
Thank you. You do know what I'm talking about here.
You're trying to alter the subject.
You are haranguing me. You're not having a conversation. Now, I do conversation. I'm good at conversation. You're not. So far. Now, just join in and play the game here. You know, it's like in tennis. Somebody can constantly hitting the ball into the crowd. What would happen? You know, people wouldn't be interested. It's a two-way thing. You've got to play the game and listen and concentrate and reply and then make your point. That's how it works.
Okay, if you keep to the same subjects I was speaking about.
That's precisely what I am doing.
Okay.
I am doing. It's important that you understand that your first job is your own self and soul.
Negative.
I'm sorry. I don't understand what that means.
Negative. There's such a thing as sacrifice for others. Or are we all sort of going to say that you're more important, say, than your children?
You don't understand me.
Well, you're suggesting that the most important thing in life is myself. No, not in every case.
Can I say that I do find it obstructive in a conversation when somebody tells you what they think they've heard?
Well, you're telling me what to think.
No, I'm asking you to have a conversation with me and not be so aggressive.
Okay, I'll try not to be aggressive.
Why are you aggressive?
I'm aggressive because I'm up against the person that constantly tries to divert the subject into something trivia. And I'm not going into trivia what was discussed a couple of weeks ago. What I mean by trivia is something that's so minor that it has no effect on the subjects whatsoever.
I'm talking about the very seat of you, your you-ness, your who you are-ness. What is that? Where does it live? Is it in your brain or is it in your breast? What is it that makes you tick? What is it that lifts your spirits, that makes your spirits soar? For me, it can be the sight of a cheetah running in slow motion, or a child's laughter, literally, or an athlete breasting the tape and realizing that it was worth it. All those things will make me cry, and I'm in touch with myself and whatever it is about me that cares that much about each person you bump into along the way. Because there are issues, sure, Of course there are issues. There are big issues. But my key point, and I refer you back to all the teachings down the time, starting, if you like, in Tibet, all the teachings say that you're not going to be able to fix anything unless you can begin
This is a diversion
by fixing yourself.
You're diverting the
You
subject.
have no idea whether GM foods or BSE or
Yes, I
Kosovo, you have no idea about the actual morality or philosophy of those issues if you are not completely at one with yourself.
Go and sit on a pile of nuclear plutonium and see how in touch with sort of morality or your spirituality you'll be. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever. There's separate issues. The issues that we're talking about is, should we take really notice of the news and current affairs above sport and other circuses? And I say that it's more important your environments, where you're going to live, where your children are going to live.
Well, you know, you're just coming across as a busybody. It's as simple as that.
Oh, so that's the answer to everything, you know, so like, that's okay. So if tomorrow they said that your money, the value of your pound will be worth ½ cent and nothing more, you'll be sort of going on the busybody.
Yeah, but you see, you fell into the trap again of being pessimistic and offering the worst case scenario and
But
saying,
you're offering
wait, will you stop interrupting me? You just interrupt all the time. If you had said you could wake up tomorrow and find out that the value of your pound is 10 times what it is worth today, then I would have lost my argument. But what you have shown is that by your constant exposure and possibly sometimes even obsession with the news, you have become utterly pessimistic about everything.
You told somebody that's starting to CJD what you're
Here we go again, look, here we go again. Here we go again. It's all gloom and doom.
Because if we don't affect the gloom and doom and our environment, then we will not be happy. None of us will, unless we object.
What do you say? 08700 40 50 60 is the telephone number. I'm Tommy Boyd. Culprits, which is in a grossly unfair way, and your views are overbalanced. You're now going too far in your condemnation. You're now looking to tar people with the same brush as those who might or might not have been responsible for these grotesqueries, right? People whose absolute ignorance of what goes on in Batley is frankly laudable. Do you know what's going on in Prague? Do you know what language they speak in Prague?
Sorry, Prague isn't an issue here.
Where is Prague?
Racism is an issue here, not Prague.
Yeah, but you're the one who's coming out with these allegations about people allowing banners like that on the terraces in Prague. I'm trying to get this into some sort of perspective for you.
Sorry, aren't we trying to kick racism out of sport? No matter what nationality it is, no matter what country it takes place in, we are trying to cut.
How do you do it? How do you do it in Prague? How do you do it in Prague? Go on, mate.
Well, obviously.
How do you do it?
So you're saying to me?
No, you tell me how you do it. Don't tell me what I'm saying. Yeah. I hate it when people tell me what I'm saying. You don't know what I'm saying. You don't even know what you're saying. I don't think.
I think I do.
You're in a red haze. Now don't get me there as well. You tell me.
I'm not in a red haze.
Right, you tell me how you do it in Prague.
Right.
What do you want the authorities in Prague to
It is an international problem, mate. You know
what? You answer the question. Look,
I'm telling you.
No, you're unrealistic.
No, sorry. Don't try to get your ratings up by slagging me off, right?
I'm not trying to get my ratings up. I'm trying to make you see common sense. Common sense. Problem. Just because you have got the moral high ground, all right, it doesn't entitle you to talk absolute cobblers.
I'm not talking cobblers, mate.
You are when you say that the authorities
It's an international problem. You know it's an international problem. I know it's an international problem.
Will you stop interrupting me?
Sorry. Oh, yeah, I forgot it's your radio, so come.
No, it's a conversation.
Okay, then.
If you stopped interrupting me...
Okay, then.
And listen...
I'm listening, mate.
And tried answering some of the questions that are being asked, because I'm really interested in your answers. It's just that you don't answer them.
Well, go on, then.
You come out with truisms.
Straightforward question.
It's a pathetic conversational technique which I loathe. When somebody asks a person a question and they reply with a truism. If they know what a truism is.
Hang on, just ask me a straightforward question, you get a straightforward answer.
Okay, well, for the 5th and final time...
Yeah. 5th?
Yes?
Okie doke.
What do you think the authorities in Prague could have done that they did not do in relation to a banner which you think, you allege, might have been waved by a racist group?
Right. International hooliganism. Yeah. They're all supposed to be involved. They're all supposed to talk to each other. They're supposed to know which thugs are going over there, which thugs aren't going over there. Yeah? Now, so if that's the case, they should know when right-wing flag, etc. goes.
Can I ask a question out of interest? Can you not say they when you obviously have a specific body in mind? Could you mention that body? Because I'm asking you a specific question, you know, and I want specific answers, not waffle.
Oh.
Who's they?
Right. Right, I am a sports fan. I am not a football fan. I am not a rugby fan. I am not an athletics fan. I am a sports fan. I don't follow no team or anything. Yeah, I like to switch on the TV and I like to watch my sport.
Which body, pal?
Exactly. There's no body because I'm not too up on it.
No, you're not too up on it, are you? Now listen to me, and I want you to listen very carefully and take this away.
Okay.
Your heart's in the right place,
right,
but you'll lose every argument you enter if you go over the top, as you did in this call.
Okay, then I'll finish this conversation on the fact that if everybody thinks like you, racism in sport will carry on.
Go to hell.
Thank you for your time.
Jeez. You can't get paid enough to deal with like that. What is the man? Now it's my fault. Okay, so racism now is my fault, it's the Prague police's fault, and it's a commentator who mentioned something that was on television. I mean, you know what football commentators are like? If it's on the screen, they'll talk about it.